My name is Keya Tama, and I'm a muralist from South Africa, based in New York. And my practice is focused primarily on paintings and murals, as well as ceramics and multi-discipline of different collaborative efforts that I explore. But the central focus of my work is to create ties between different countries and the past and the present. And I try to make work that essentially balances the world so that more subtle narratives can be told, as well as for myself to learn about these more intrinsic human stories that are quite hard to hear as the world gets faster, to sort of slow it down and learn. One story that really hit me when I was younger was I went to the catacombs in Rome, and there was a section that was for people who couldn't read and write, and I found it quite beautiful because instead of their names, each grave had 3 symbols that represented the person's life. And especially collectively, all of these different symbols told a human story that was very simplified, but together held so much more weight than I think words can sometimes carry. And for me, I guess it's the non-verbal communication that can be boiled down into symbols that I want to explore and hold quite a lot of space for the intangible. And I think that's my work can sometimes just be an entry point to that conversation that is harder to have and needs to be felt. Yeah, a lot of my work focuses on animals because it's such a central theme of my life growing up in South Africa, where there's so much nature as well as plants. And then also a lot of craft movements are very interesting to me because they're sort of being forgotten, but also within every different craft is like a history that isn't elevated to the same standard as painting has been, but in so many ways informs culture and has a human story of love that goes back to the beginning of time. And anything that can represent that to me is quite profound and almost more exciting in some ways, and feels like a necessity to explore. My work comprises of 3 different styles. I do quite intentionally naive illustrative work, as well as quite rigid geometric work, and then impressionist paintings at times. But all 3 of them generally culminate and come together at moments, and then sometimes I break them up. But yeah, I'd describe my work as a exploration into balancing and contrasting the past and future, and finding a process of almost carving something pre-existing into a space. It's very contextual, and it's constantly reinventing itself depending on where I am. So yeah, from when I was very young, I grew up traveling, especially with my mom, who would take me to all these different projects she was on, because she herself is an artist. And I found it very, very inspiring just seeing the world that in some ways is as I grow up is even being forgotten, and little ephemeral elements of spaces we'd go to, or painting in abandoned spaces where there's drawings from kids or ancient drawings, but all of it seemed to tie. No matter where I went, there seemed to be the same love in every country. And I think that's always been the biggest inspiration to me, is sort of that, as well as very immersive and innovative youth culture movements. And I think they share the same bond because it's excitement and humanity. And so to me, it's always been a link between organic subcultures and ancient art. In some way, they're so far, but yet repeat themselves. And I love that cycle of human growth. Yeah, I have murals all over the world. And then I also have an exhibition coming up at Stolen Space in London on the 20th of November. I have some other projects that are still to be announced, but mostly I think just in the streets you can see murals of mine. This place is so exciting to me because it feels like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory for ceramics, and the way that everyone engages with you here too is extremely serious, but with so much love that there's almost like a slight humor, and it's really been a dream. I think ever since I was young, I've been obsessed with ceramics, and it felt like a type of magic and alchemy, and the way that and the expertise that these people handle the pieces with, it's not lost its allure. Even knowing every single part of the process, I still find it to be this magic, and it's really made me so happy to be able to contribute and understand it deeper through spending time with everyone here. So I've been working with ceramics now for 3 years. I have made lots of. What's ironic is that all the works with ceramics I've made in the past have been blue and white. And so this is the perfect opportunity to just continually do that. I did buy a decal printer, so I've been making like editions of trophies with multicolors on them. And my vision really is to do more ceramic installations with tiles and extruded elements as well. Because many muralists that I know have really inspired me in that arena, like Adfiel and Vale. And even before, like a lot of muralists were doing ceramic installations, there's been a lot of honor to that tradition because of the pattern making and what it holds. I didn't know the history of it at all until this project, which felt like I'd been around it my whole life, and it connected so many dots of why it's such a specific look and style, and the link to South African history as well. Like, it's something I've grown up with in a different way that's translated through time, but it felt like it had been an ever-present element of my life, and it's very full circle to learn.
Yeah. Straat asked you to join, you didn't hesitate.
I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for me so far, talking to a lot of the experts at their crafts, is really to enjoy the process more. And I think to understand that we're all a part of history is so exciting, because it does evolve even without effort. Just each hand replicating something adds some story, a narrative, and care. And I feel very held by time when I think about all the love and lives that have gone into this single art form with so much intention and focus. Yeah, I mean, I think that it is actually quite similar, because it's the same texture as painting on a wall, is painting on bisqued ceramics. And what I like is that it's similarly the same paradox, where you could do a mural that could last very, very long and have potentially historical categorization, and be kept in good condition, or it could get destroyed, same as like a piece of ceramic work. So you can pour as much love as you want, but time will just do what it wants, or it might explode in the kiln, or so many things can go wrong. But it's the act of doing, and that precise moment of feeling inspired that you do it for. And I think that ties all art, but especially these two. And yeah. My father is a tattoo artist, and I've done some tattoos, and I like the parallel as well between ceramics and tattooing. I've been absorbing a lot of the books that they have here, just trying to really integrate the patterning and the delicate nature of the work into my unconscious mind, so that when I make this work, it kind of is a blend of mine and the Delft blue aesthetic. What I'm very inspired by, I've been looking into like some of the sayings they have on the older plates, and I've done some research into incorporating some of that. So I'm exploring that right now. And then I'm really intrigued by the lost symbols of family and moments that are carried in just these like household plates that occur and no one now knows what they mean. And then how I interpret that in relation to my life. I think playing with the gap in knowledge to bridge some sort of connection that we can only feel, I think is quite exciting to me. Yeah, I mean, I hope that everything comes out very good. I've done a lot of tests, so this should be fine. But yeah, I'm gonna see how much they can fire as we go, so it's not just one surprise at the end. Yeah. Because that would be that'd be comforting. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me personally, when I first started seeing murals in real life, it felt so exciting because my whole life I was told the imagination is something that you have that is for children and it will fade away. But the first time I saw a mural, it felt concrete proof existed that it was real and existed in the world of adults and didn't have to be something you negotiate to become a serious person. And I think it legitimizes the most sensitive parts of people and lets you keep fragments of the most vulnerable parts of yourself in how you carry your relationship to creativity throughout your life. And not just that, but also just intercultural connections are largely expanded through murals existing and people traveling and telling these stories. So it is the greatest cultural exchange, I think, that it doesn't have any hierarchy, I think, too. It's skill-based and emotionally based, too, because ultimately if people feel something and it tells a story that connects, it can break through any boundary. I mean, I've known one of them before, which is quite nice, but everyone is in some degree connected, like, which is quite exciting to just find it's a very wholesome community. But everyone's been very, very sweet and passionate, and it's been quite a exciting environment to be around.